Sup, boys? Mako here. So I did it. I finally beat Persona 2, Eternal Punishment. This game took me too long to beat, and honestly, it's a little embarrassing. I was stuck on the Joker Noriko fight for so long, it's absurd. But I finally beat Eternal Punishment, and I can now say I have beaten every single main Persona game. The only games in the Persona series that I haven't beaten as of this recording are Persona Q1 and Persona Q2. I do own both. I had them both since their original release dates. I really didn't like them, and I still have yet to finish them. I like them now, but seriously, Persona Q is such a disappointing mini series in this franchise, because I'm not gonna go into a rant about Persona Q2 because I'm just gonna make people upset. But I will give them a second chance just to see if I really do dislike the games that much. Because I feel like if I don't get into them now, then that probably means that I don't like the entirety of Etrian Odyssey as a whole, right? Because these games are basically Etrian Odyssey. But anyways, what the crux of this video is going to be is Persona 2 with more leaning into Eternal Punishment, because that's what I beat just now. But I will focus this video... I will talk in this video about both Innocent Sin and Eternal Punishment. It has been a little longer since I've beaten Innocent Sin, but I do want to talk about both these games, because I feel like it's hard to talk about one without talking about the other, especially in a video like this, since this is just gonna be like an off the cuff talking about my experiences and my opinions about about this game, right? Persona 2 is, I will say this straight away, this is probably my favorite story in the series, and I don't think any other game came as close to being as good as this. Primarily because of the characters. The characters in both of these Persona 2 games have been, they've been some of the best sidekicks, best side characters, best main characters. They're just so good. Jesus Christ. Now, I'd say probably the second game, Eternal Punishment, is probably the better game. I've heard some people say that they prefer Innocent Sin, and I do not agree with that at all. I'd say Eternal Punishment is 100% the better game. It tells the better story. It has probably the more refined combat when you're looking at the fact that it's the second game. Although I'm looking at this from the aspect of looking at the PSP version going into Eternal Punishment. And realistically, that is a downgrade. But if you're looking from the original PS1 version, which does have an English translation, Eternal Punishment is probably the better game. Although I won't stick around this point too much, because I haven't had too much experience playing the original PS1 version. But in general, both these games, really fun, unique combat that I haven't seen any RPG do before. Because this isn't like a press turn, like traditional Mega 10 press turn or anything like that. This is something of its own. It's like an auto battle that you can modify every turn. So you can interrupt literally pretty much every move, and just change it. Change the entire lineup of attacks, and you just resume the auto battle and have these characters continue doing the skills you set until you change them again. It's really interesting, and the way it was implemented, it's really fascinating, because it's like all about fusion skills. So if you line up specific characters with their specific skills in a certain order, you'll do like mega cool attacks. Innocent Sin does this as well. So does Eternal Punishment. I'm pretty sure they do it the same way, but I think the PSP version streamlined it a little bit, made it a little bit easier. And to be honest, in terms of Innocent Sin, I'll say this: it is the easier game. Innocent Sin, I clocked in at around 30 hours, and I wasn't particularly high level either, but it was pretty easy all throughout. And I have a feeling that is because I played the PSP version. I think the PSP version, straight up, it just made it so much easier than the original. Because I feel like if I would have played the original PS1 version, I feel like I would have struggled more, a little bit more, because it's a bit more would have been a bit more clunky. But I've seen some videos talking about how the PSP version made it a little bit more blander with the combat system in Innocent Sin. I think it was from Snickety Slice. He mentioned that they made the combat system in Innocent Sin on PSP more like Persona 1 on PSP, which is very different. It's a very different combat system, and I see his point, because it kind of is when you look at it side by side. But it does still have the Persona 2 elements, like it did originally, but it just has some more flair to it from Persona 1 for some reason. Anyways, the Innocent Sin story is okay. It's pretty decent. It sets up Eternal Punishment very well, but I think Eternal Punishment is the core that you really want to play, because Eternal Punishment is the cooler story with the I hate to say it, but cooler characters. I really prefer the adult cast of Persona 2 Eternal Punishment. I think they're all way more fascinating and interesting than the high schoolers from the original Persona 2. That's not to say I absolutely love Eikichi. I love Lisa. I love Tatsuya. Oh my god, Tatsuya! There's so much to say about Tatsuya. Jesus. The thing is, Tatsuya's in both games as a party member, and oh my god, I don't want to spoil anything here, but it's so good. The only thing I want to mention is that the voice acting in the second game on PS1. Oh my god, what have they done? They ruined some awesome scenes. Because some voice actors are genuinely okay. I think there's Yukiko's voice actor in there somewhere. I think Ulala was. I didn't check this, but I think Ulala's voice actor is Yukiko. Again, don't quote me on this. I'm not 100% sure, but she sounds like it. So there is some talent there, but one of the main characters, Tatsuya, goddamn Tatsuya, they got one of the worst voice actors I've ever heard to voice him. I don't know what else he voiced, but off of hearing him in Eternal Punishment, he sounds dreadful. He sounds like the most off the road, do this for $5 kind of voice actor I've ever heard. It sounds so bad. If everyone else is passable, but his voice actor just stands out as trash. Again, if anyone else knows anything cool that he voiced later down in his career, let me know. I'm curious who he actually is. Again, I'm not doing any research into the backgrounds of any of these people, because this is straight up. This is, as I said, straight off the cuff. So, anyways, the music. Let me talk about the music. The music's, again, very, very, very good. I've listened to some versions of some tracks on the PSP version and of Eternal Punishment, and it's mixed. Some tracks are superior here, some tracks are superior there. But in the PSP version of Eternal Punishment, in Japan at least, you are able, I believe, to change the versions. So I'd say just try out everything once we get the English version of the PSP version, because I am planning on replaying this once we do get that, because obviously I am. There is actually an extra campaign that they added into Eternal Punishment that I really want to play, because it's basically just Tatsuya's perspective of everything that happened at Eternal Punishment, and he was off screen quite a lot in Eternal Punishment, so it'll be very, very, very interesting to play that. That's not to say that I haven't spoiled myself in terms of looking up the story of his campaign, because obviously there's gonna be still ages until we actually do get the English translation of the PSP version. But yeah, I'm really eager to play that. But anyways, going back to the music, I want to bring up also the Innocent Sin soundtrack, because I'm mainly focused on Eternal Punishment just earlier now. But Innocent Sin is obviously incredible too. I think more people are familiar with the soundtrack for Innocent Sin, because obviously that's the game that actually did release here. But I will say, I prefer the soundtrack of Eternal Punishment. The Eternal Punishment soundtrack, I feel, is more feely, gets more into your soul, you know? I feel like there's a lot of more chirpy, happy music in Innocent Sin. Of course, the main sticking point being the sad Maya music in Innocent Sin, as well as the PSP title screen. The PSP title screen is like meme-worthy of depressing sounding. But overall, I'd say the Innocent Sin soundtrack is also really, really good. But I have such a hard time viewing these games as separate games, because they're so similar. Like I would like to be able to say, right? I would like to be able to say that both these games are one, but they're not. They're obviously separate games. So obviously you have to talk about things in terms of both separately. Like, I would like to be able to say the soundtrack for Persona 2 is great, but obviously it's fragmented. One is Innocent Sin soundtrack, one is Eternal Punishment. Even though I'd say it's easier to just say, oh, Persona 2 soundtrack is good. And that's what I'm going to do here. Persona 2 as a whole, amazing soundtrack, amazing story, amazing characters, everything is amazing. Because I want to just put this all into one basket. Both these games are essential. You have to play them back to back, which is something that it's insane. Especially now, I find it so insane to think about the fact that they released the second part of this fucking game without releasing the first one back in the day. We haven't gotten the first part until, like, what, fucking 2012, 2011? When the fuck did Persona 2 Innocent Sin come out on PSP? That's mental! What are you doing, Atlas? What have you done? And they're still like this with the release dates. Like, holy shit. The Persona, not to talk about stuff that's not really relevant to the discussion too much, but the Persona 5 Scramble situation has been really, really annoying. Because we are in 2020, be that as it may, you know, maybe that's not exactly a great year for anybody, but you are Atlas in 2020, you have the support of Sega, you are a very well-off company. Why in the fuck do you still take so long to localize your games? Are you dead ass with me here right now? You were faster back in the day. Why the fuck do you take so long now? I want to dedicate this a little bit, because I won't, because like they won't even listen. There's no point. But it drives me up the fucking wall, because it's literally just, who the fuck makes these decisions? Why the fuck do these games take so long to get localized? Anyways, with regards to Innocent Sin again, why the hell was Innocent Sin not released first? You miss so much of context without playing Innocent Sin first. It's like a mystery. I'm putting myself in the perspective of a fan back in the day. You have to imagine what happened in Innocent Sin. You might not even, back in the day, they might have not even known there was an Innocent Sin. They might have not known it was a game. They might have just thought there was a weird way of telling a story. But I should just stop talking about this, because it's gonna make me mad. But yeah, Innocent Sin essential playing, Eternal Punishment essential playing. You should play both. Honestly, like, if you are a fan of the modern Persona games, you've only played Persona 5, 4, 3, you should really take it upon yourself to really play the original two games, Persona 1 and 2, Innocent Sin and Eternal Punishment. I say, Innocent Sin and Eternal Punishment, basically one game, because Innocent Sin is short as hell, and Eternal Punishment is long as hell. So they kind of add up together into a one package of a chunky game. Because there is so much, even lore. Like, it didn't even come to my mind, but there's so much like little lore of Persona lore in this game that you just do not see in later games get brought up, but it is absolutely always relevant. The shadows and everything, the fact that Nyarlathotep is really a villain that exists, that permeates throughout the entire series, and there's no way that he isn't. Just the way that he exists, he is really an ever-present force of evil that's just in the Persona series all the time. And even if not in the middle of a stage, front and center, as a main villain, he's definitely still lurking, right? And same with Philemon and everything. A lot of people like to say, oh yeah, the butterfly in the modern Persona games, that's not Philemon anymore, they retconned him. No, they didn't. Sure, in Royal, the butterfly is probably Lavenza, because there's nothing really to suggest that Joker was ever reached out to by Philemon for any reason. He was realistically reached out to from the start by Yaldabaoth, but to do his bidding. But even bringing up Persona 5 here, after playing Persona 2, Jesus Christ, that game feels like fucking plagiarism to a degree. There's so much Persona 2 stuff in 5 thematically, and like the way it's made, it's mental. Like, really, if you're a Persona 5 fan alone, you should play Persona 2, because there's so much similarities. It's just mental, you know. But I'd say for me, Persona 2 is what's my let me say what's my favorite Persona game now. It's still 3. I will say it's still definitely 3 is my favorite. It was my first. It's the one I have a softest spot for in my heart. But I'd say the second place is Persona 2. It really is. Both Persona 2 games are probably my number 2 on the tier list. By the way, this has been an idea in my head, lurking for a while. I'm thinking of doing a tier list video of everything I've beaten in Mega 10 so far. I'm not sure if I should fracture it between like Persona and Mega 10, but I definitely want to do something like this because there's a lot I want to add into that kind of talk. I want to share my opinion of everything as a whole and how I stack it up against everything. I think that would be a very fun video to make. Let me know if you're interested at all, because I'll be very happy to do that. Of course, I still have quite a lot of Mega 10 to beat. But obviously this is all just for fun and games, so if after I beat way more games, I'll obviously make an update again if anyone's interested. But yeah, let me know if anyone's interested in that. Anyways, is there anything else I want to talk about? I'm just thinking. I'm just gonna is there anything? Well, I'll say this, Tatsuya, best boy, didn't deserve what happened, you know. Poor boy sacrificed himself, in a way. I mean, sort of, but not really. But I guess again, that depends on how you want to view his the ending of Eternal Punishment. And man, that game, it's just pain, man. Eternal pain that's what it feels like. It just leaves you in an emotional state of despair at the end. It's such a sad game. For fuck's sake, it's fantastic, but it's just sad. Like literally, this is like the only spoiler I'll say. The Persona 2 Eternal Punishment ends with everyone crying, and everyone's sad. Oh, there is something I want to mention because I just remembered. So Persona 1, as I said, I think you should really play Persona 1 first before you play this. Again, maybe common sense to play Persona 2 Innocent Sin first before Eternal Punishment, but what no one tells you is to play Persona 1. Because Persona 1 is Eternal Punishment is straight up the sequel, the direct sequel to Persona 1. There is so much overlap. There's so many things coming back. It's the only Persona game that I feel like did the direct sequel with characters and everything, and it wasn't a spin-off. It's literally like Nate, fucking not Nate. That's his fucking Western name. Kei Nanjo, the fucking #1 boy. He's back. He's a party member. He's British. He's British sounding. This game alone made me love the Persona 1 cast so much. Because it was literally just the passing of the torch. In terms of like, okay, you guys gotta finish this. In terms of the ending, because it was fantastic. I loved the interactions between the Persona 1 cast and Persona 2. It was awesome. I also love the updated character model, like character avatars and everything. They were all really fun. It was really fun to see every character again. So yeah, if you're planning on playing Persona 2 Eternal Punishment, make sure to do your homework and finish Persona 1 first. And I will recommend you do that anyway, because Persona 1 is a great game that gets a lot of slander nowadays, but, you know, it's a game that I still rep on Twitter. That's my current avatar on Twitter is actually Kei Nanjo. He's one of my favorite Persona characters in the series. In fact, Persona 2 Eternal Punishment probably does him way more justice. He's an amazing character in Eternal Punishment. Seriously, I know a lot of people like dog on Persona 1, but like how can you after Eternal Punishment is a game that exists? It really shows when some fans have actually played Eternal Punishment and what fans haven't. It's easy to identify which one's a fake fan, because there's no way you would hate Persona 1 if you've played Eternal Punishment, and it makes you appreciate it way more. But even on its own, I'd say Persona 1 is still amazing. Please do play it. Yeah, this ended up being a Persona 1 video as well. Woo! But yeah, for all that it's worth, this video was a fucking mess. And I was just very excited to talk about everything, because it's man, I loved this game so much. I really, really hope that one day we'll get a remake of Persona 1 and 2. That's what I'm like. That's like my goal now. Is just everyone spamming Atlas with like, please port Persona 5 to Switch. It's incredible. I want to play it. I never played it. My favorite game, but I haven't played it. Right? No, please remake Persona 1 and SMT1 as well. That's what I'm aiming for right now. Please, Atlas, remake Persona 1 and SMT1. That's what I want. Anyways, I won't be promising any videos. It'll happen when it happens. I'm sorry that this one took as long to come out as it did. I'm sorry. I was just very busy in life. There was a lot going on between like college and work. We're renovating the house a little bit at the moment, so that's taking a lot of work. I'm just helping out my parents with that. And there's just a lot going on. So yeah, hopefully you guys don't mind. And hopefully the next video will be something exciting. Hope you look forward to it. Please like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter. And yeah, see you next time, guys. Bye-bye.